button now. I think we're
Okay.
recording, actually, like officially.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very well. Where are you?
I'm in New York.
But like specifically, what room are you in? Because it looks
Oh,
interesting.
I'm in my art studio.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's so
Some
cool.
paintings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm slightly further up in the world compared to where you are, I guess. But we have like orange air outside today, and there was some sort of warning saying that we shouldn't go outside because of the forest fires happening in Quebec somewhere. Are
Are you
you?
in Canada?
Yeah, I am. I am. I'm in Montreal.
Oh,
Um, are
crazy.
you experiencing the same thing?
Not today, but we had, I guess, um, a few weeks ago we
Oh
had,
yeah,
yeah, horrible air.
yeah. I remember seeing that. It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, right. Before we dive into it, I have a couple of things I just wanted to like make sure that we cover.
Okay.
I have a list and everything. Okay. So if it works for you, I would like to talk to you for give or take an hour. Um,
Okay.
I'll give you a chance to review literally everything that we discuss after the fact. So once this is done, I'll post this to like an unlisted YouTube link. I'll share the link with you. You can have a look if there's anything you feel like, oh, I want this part taken out or I'm not comfortable sharing this. Like, let me know and we'll deal with it. Um,
Okay.
I'll be asking you a bunch of questions. Obviously, this is like a voluntary participation. So if there's anything you prefer to not answer, you clearly don't have to. Just say pass and we'll move on. Uh,
Okay.
I won't be sharing any personal information. So in the actual video that I will be posting, I'll just have your account name, your handle, and today's date. That's the only thing I'll share. Anything above and
Okay.
beyond that will be up to you. So like if you bring something up, we can go down that path, but I won't like instigate anything that could share personal information.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I think that was the main stuff I just wanted to make sure I mentioned before we start. Do you have any questions around like the setup or anything?
No, no questions.
Okay, amazing. So, how was your day today? What's it been like so far?
Pretty good. I had a bit of a crazy day yesterday, so today I felt like I took things a bit slower, and then I went to brunch, which I never do, and had a drink. So
Nice. All right.
a relaxing day.
Yeah,
Yeah. How
and it
about you?
I overslept quite a bit, and then I woke up and the skies were yellow, so I felt like yeah, I don't know, it feels a
Oh,
little apocalyptic. Um,
yeah.
but overall good. I got a chance to catch up with like family this morning. And yeah, it was nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, I truthfully, I haven't done one of these interviews in like a week and a half, so if I'm a little bit rusty, you'll know why, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't seem like a long time at all. So-
I don't know. I just when I first started, I did like several every day, um, and
Oh,
I just
wow.
like I really got into the swing of things, and I started to feel
Yeah.
like I don't know, like quite the interviewer. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like this cadence of talking versus like listening. Yeah, I don't know. It takes a while to get into it, but um, yeah,
Yeah, it's a rhythm.
yeah, totally, totally. So this is the first time we actually talk properly.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
obviously, like I've followed you for a long time. I know your account quite well, and I'm assuming you at least are somewhat familiar with the stuff that I post too.
Of
Um,
course.
but if you wouldn't mind, like share as much as you're comfortable with, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an artist, and um, let's see, that I feel like I keep that kind of separate from Tammy. Tammy, I think, is also an artist, but in a different way. But personally, I'm an abstract painter.
Hmm.
Tammy's more of a curator, I guess. She's finding things, and it's. I guess I started Tammy as kind of a way to. I always had this other side of my art that I didn't really feel like I could, present along with my very formal paintings. So Tammy was kind of an outlet for this other part that I've always had, a bit more lewd, a bit more perverse, a bit, more fun aspect to who I am, I guess.
It's amazing.
And yeah.
Yeah. And what are you trying to express through Tammy Mae Albertson?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of things like Tammy, she's like, I think I started Tammy when she started. She was kind of a basic person, and she talked about her nieces and lived in Park Slope. But I think over time she's evolved, and now she's kind of more, you know, she likes to emasculate men. She likes to create disgusting food combinations. She smokes a lot of weed. She wakes up at 6 p.m. my time. So
Sure.
all things, I guess some of those things I do, but not, not all of them.
And so this is like a more fully fledged persona that you curate the world
Oh,
through. Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, it kind of started as a friend of mine had shared this article with me, and it was kind of like, if you don't have a fake assistant, are you really a professional person? So I started her as kind of like a fake assistant, and then I was like, well, if she has a fake, I could tell people like, email Tammy, she'll do this for you. And then I was like, if she has an email address, she probably has to have an Instagram. Because if you don't have an Instagram this day and age, you're not, you're sketchy, right? So I started her Instagram page, and then it became kind of this more like full fledged. I was like really getting in the mindset of who this person was.
But this was an actual assistant for a while. I mean, functioning as an actual assistant for a while.
Oh, she still does, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
she's
so
still
Tammy
my
takes like the
actual.
reservations and stuff, the executive decision making and
Yeah,
organizing
like
things.
admin stuff. She's like,
Okay.
emailing paperwork and things like that.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that
Yeah.
was a thing. Is that a common prevalence?
I, I don't know how common it is because I personally only know one person who has one, but
Yeah.
there was an article, I don't remember if it was like New Yorker or like one of these, you know, you know, magazines like this had it, that it's apparently a thing. So
Wow. Um, and how long ago was this? Like, when did you start this?
I think a couple years. I'm trying to, maybe before like right before the pandemic, 2019 probably,
Incredible.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when did I'm referring to this imaginary person. Uh, when did the Instagram account start?
But right around the same time, I was kind of like, this person has an email address. I can now open a new Instagram. And
And
yeah.
what about, you said you know someone else who also has an imaginary assistant. Does the other imaginary assistant also have an Instagram account?
No, unfortunately, Janice doesn't have an Instagram, but she should.
Yeah, maybe Tammy and Janice can set something up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy can share some tips.
Yeah.
Uh, how has the account like changed who you are?
Um, I think it's been like, uh, I think I'm spending a lot more time on Instagram, but I think but I think I'm, looking at it in a different way where I'm not just looking at like cooking recipes or something. I'm finding, these weird reposted TikTok videos of people pretending to be horse. I don't know. I think there's just been a lot more exposure to weird subculture that I probably might not necessarily see,
Yeah.
like the things that I look at and interact with, more things like that appear in the feed. And so I think that there's just a lot more, you know, uh, appreciation for that. And
Yeah, definitely. So how much do you keep it separate? Is it like Tammy is a completely different side of you that you are, at arm's length from, or is it just like a moniker and a name? How much of it is sincerely you versus this online persona?
I feel like Tammy's always been inside of me.
Yeah.
It's just been like something I couldn't share publicly. So it's just this place where I can kind of back in the early days of Instagram, I felt like before I was, sharing before I was more of a professional artist, I think I could have more kind of different content in my social, you know, profiles. But the older I get, it's like I want to keep things more separate, and it's been a place where I can really feel like a lot more free, and also interact with a different audience. I think there's like I have some pretty good followers that I'm pretty proud of on Tammy that, you know, would never follow me. So it's nice to have that.
So just from my understanding, how do you keep your? I'm assuming you have several accounts. Do you have like a professional one? Tammy, obviously. Are there others?
Yeah, I have actually a cup. I have one for my cat. I have another meme account called Rat Muscles.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm
Oh
writing that down.
yeah,
Yeah.
the name is like Beige Against the Machine. But I think of that page as like he's like the male side. Like Tammy's obviously very feminine. Rat Muscles is like guy culture. Um, and what else is there? I think. Oh, and then I have another cat page that's not specifically my cat, but it's like all cats, called Wild Baby Ultimate Cats.
Wait, say that again. Wild Baby Ultimate Cats.
Yes,
That's
Wild Baby Ultimate
that's a
Cats.
very good name for an account page. Um, yeah. Okay. So how many accounts in total?
Um, let's
When you
see.
open the little list there, how many show up?
Uh, s- Me, Tammy, Rat Muscles, I think seven.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, one of them was I used to run a gallery, so it was like the galleries page, and another one is an artist. I have like a like artist studios listing page. So yeah.
Amazing. So how do you decide what goes where? Is it like obvious to you, or is there a process behind it? Yeah, intuitive versus more cerebral?
Yeah, it's mostly intuitive, I would say. Some things it's kind of a hard decision. I'm like, this could go either place, and sometimes it goes both places. Yeah, but I think it's mostly intuitive, and I have some people who send me content. For example, a friend of mine who I know in real life sent me content for Rat Muscles, but he sent it to Tammy. So it's like,
Ah,
it's all like,
I've
it's all one universe, I feel like.
see. I struggle a little. I don't have a lot of pages. I just have
Yeah.
the meme page or whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
my personal one. But even there, it's like I diverge and converge a little in terms of should I separate stuff out and be very deliberate with this is only for this stuff and this is only for this stuff, or do I make stupid abstract jokes with my friends and family, and do I post personal stuff to give myself a more greater sense of just like identity on the repost account? I'm torn between the two. Like, what's your philosophy around? Yeah, just like how do you choose what goes where, and how many accounts to have to engage with?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't actually like none of my accounts are actually personal, I don't feel. I mean, they're all very personal, but they're like, you know, the one that has my real name it's mostly my paintings, and so it's not really like I don't share like family photos on it or anything. But and Tammy, I think, you know, it's obviously in some ways it's even more personal because it's like it's more out there, but it's also not the most, you know, I don't actually create content for it, so it's you know, it's completely separate
Yeah,
in a way as well. But yeah, it's I think I do sometimes share things from my other pages on my personal, or yeah, like in my story, and because I like I'm proud of
yeah,
it.
exactly. There's like cross
Yeah.
pollination happening, right? Does it ever
Yeah.
go the other way around where you would post, kids pretending to be horses on your gallery page?
Um, I've posted like something like on the gallery page. I posted like a Chuck E. Cheese meme that I posted on the Rat Muscles page before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you have to, consider your audience and stuff. But I agree with you. Just because you repost something that someone else, actually captured, doesn't make it less personal. In fact, it can make it like more personal because it's something that this is something that fascinates me, or something that I think is noteworthy somehow, which speaks more to your personality than just like, hello, I have a job and I'm a professional person, or whatever it may be. I'm standing next to my high school friends. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
People tend to take the same photo as 1,000 other people
yeah.
in the same place. And yeah, in some ways, some of these crazy videos are so much more real than,
Yeah, totally. It's just like how you choose to engage with them, I guess,
yeah.
or how you use your imagination to apply them to whatever your circumstances are. Um,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So I've done, I think, well, I've posted 10 of these before. And one thing that I've thought about a lot is the role of Instagram accounts like yours in being almost a gallery type curation as opposed to being artistry in themselves.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Because you're an actual gallerist person and also an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, I would call myself I don't run the gallery anymore, so I don't feel that way. But yeah, I think I definitely think of it as curation, but there is artistry in curation at the same time. I think that like your particular vision is an artistic endeavor in itself. So it's a little bit of both.
How do you cultivate that skill?
I don't know. I think that's the question, right? Like, how do you? I think I'm just always looking at things, and obviously, I went to school for art, but I think just paying attention always, and yeah, that's the question. How do you cultivate that skill? That's like,
Yeah,
I think you just have to always be looking.
yeah, that's fair enough. So on that note, like, how do you engage with Instagram in general? Like, what do you do on Instagram when you take up your phone and open the app?
So I usually start with my like I guess I'll call it my real Instagram, my like painting Instagram,
Mm,
and there I do have like personal conversations with people who actually know me in real
mm,
life, and uh, it, and that I think is more of a I feel like people I have some people that I converse with solely through Instagram, so in that way that account is a lot of communication and also that's like self like what do you call it, just trying to get myself out there, self
promotion?
promotion,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And and then my when I'm kind of done like chatting, I'll go right, Tammy's like the next, then I'm like, it's time to have fun, it's time to like look at some videos, and yeah, I just think it's that's kind of like my outlet where I don't know, sometimes communicating with people is really nice, but sometimes it can feel like work. And then Tammy, I feel like that's like just for me. No, not, people in my family don't, maybe like one of my brothers knows it's me, but a big, it's not a big secret, but it's also, I
Yeah.
feel like
You
it's
don't market
more,
it in that same way, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's more fun. It's way more fun. So
I will mention it in passing sometimes to people, but no one cares. Like that's,
yeah, no one cares.
but I think that's really liberating to know,
Yeah.
that you can do this indulgent thing, and you're just having fun with it, and it's, yeah, I don't know, it's liberating, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Um,
great to not feel like the bug under the microscope. You're
yeah,
just,
yeah, and how does Tammy May Albert? How do you, what is it? Tammy May Albertson?
Tammy Mae Albertson, and her
Yeah,
first name is Tamantha.
so good. Uh, how has that account influenced your art? Is there a connection between the two?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in undergrad, before Tamantha existed, I was making paintings, but at the same time, I was making prints, and they were these kind of like perverse. And I think that maybe that's really where Tammy was born before I even knew it. It'd be like a print of a woman hitting a bong, or like there was one that was like a jaguar was like emerging from a woman's vagina or something like that. So it was kind of like funny, kind of disturbing, and it was just really just line work, and it was like this. It was a lot different from my paintings, and my professors became very excited by it, and they're like, "Oh, this is great!" Like, so it was this weird thing where I was like, I spent hours on these paintings, and I felt like these prints were more of an outlet, but they were getting a lot more. I don't know, people became excited by them more than I thought they would. And I was almost embarrassed to show them to people. So, and I think I've always kind of had that kind of where I've always, you know, my paintings are abstract, and there's, not a lot of rendering of actual things in them. So there's always this part that I'm when I'm drawing for myself, it's very different. So I think in a lot of ways, when I started the Tammy page, it you know I got more into that work that I had kind of almost pushed aside,
Hmm.
So, and then I guess also there's a couple of art critics who follow Tammy that I know.
Oh, yeah, I think I know a big one. Yeah.
Jerry Saltz.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his wife, Roberta Smith, who's like an amazing writer for the New York Times. And my partner and I were at a gallery opening, and we saw them, and he walked up and was like, because they've been interacting with Tammy, but they didn't know it was me. And he was like, Trudy, but do you know Tammy? And it was kind of this whole like, oh, like
Oh,
crazy.
wow. It's so funny.
Yeah, so I think it made them kind of appreciate me more as a painter in a way. So
The lore, I guess. Sorry
yeah, the
for using
lore,
that
yeah,
word around Jerry Saltz is so crazy. Like I always thought that that would be a really cool account to have follow my account. I don't really know why. I'm not connected to the art scene. It's just um,
yeah,
I wanted to impress that person for some reason. And then I know yeah, one of the anonymous accounts, like they would send him like threats and stuff. Well, not actual threats, but just like be really obnoxious and push things like really far. Because I think he represents some sort of crossover between art and just like real life, and also shit posting finds its way somewhere in there too. And yeah,
yeah,
I feel like there's a specific culture happening, yes, centered around him somehow. That's tangentially, well, I guess in your place, in your world, there's actual overlap. But to me, it's like that's where shitposting starts to take the form of reality somehow, and interesting things happen right there.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a big mainstream following, which is great for like it's. I think it's a lot of people in the art world don't have a mainstream following, and a lot of people in like shit posting don't have a mainstream
yeah,
following.
yeah. So
Yeah.
one thing that I'm curious about too is like how you set the parameters for what you paint and how you set the parameters for what you post.
Yeah, I guess by setting parameters, you mean like how do I decide what to paint, or
Yeah,
how
exactly.
do I
And
decide what not to paint?
a little bit of both. So, what makes a good painting? What's a good idea that you want to work on, take through all the way to fruition versus
Yeah, but
here's,
that's the question, right? Like, what's what makes a good painting?
yeah,
I don't always know if I know the answer to that, but
because you clearly have some sort of distinction between painting and Tamantha.
yeah, it's a lot different. But I guess at the same time, it's kind of like what they said about porn. Like I don't know the definition, but like when I know good art. When I see it, I know it's good art, but I
Yeah,
don't know how to tell you it's good art.
yeah,
And sometimes I don't always know what's a good painting. It takes me I'll think a painting's horrible and I put it aside, and then 2 years later, I'm like, oh, this was a really important painting, and just like that, like with something that I'll post on Tammy, I don't always know. I'm like, oh, I find something, this is amazing. I'm gonna repost it or like crop it and make it into a meme or something, and then nothing, crickets,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you don't always know. And then I have this one post that I posted that's of, um, I mean, I reposted it. It's like a woman and she's like bending down, and it's like the only thing I have thumbtacked on my page, I think. And you see that she's kind of like pulling a butt plug out of anal beads out of her ass, like because they're like hooked onto the window or something like this. And
Oh my God.
it's like, for some reason that got like tens of thousands of likes, and I have no idea why. I mean, I like it a lot, but I feel like there's much finer content out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Certainly.
I think it's like up to, the audience to really answer that question, I guess.
Okay. So that also like takes me to thoughts around how you judge what's good. Same thing. I feel like I have an intuitive, almost like visceral sense of what makes me laugh, or what do I think is interesting, or what do I deem as, um, I don't know, important, or is the wrong word, but something like it to share with, the public. And then some of it, it's to your point, it just like bombs, but I still really like it. And some of it, I feel like it's
Yeah.
a little bit like surface level or stupid, or goes in one direction I'm not super comfortable with, and it can sort of take off and it becomes, like something that a lot of people share. But I don't know. How do you feel about how the reception of something affects your, uh, how do I say this? The way you're incentivized to continue down that same path.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it obviously affects it because I guess when I started the page, I wasn't really thinking about having a lot of exposure or caring if it really took off. But now I do more. So,
Mm,
cause I do think of it as, an extension of my art practice in a way. And I care a lot about it. I mean, I think it's something that I've nurtured for a few years and I will nurture for years to come. So it's hard to kind of keep the dumb, stupid things that are easy and people are going to like out of there, because you do want people to come to the page.
yeah.
But I think there's also like, I don't ever post anything I don't like or think. And having said that, I do think that a lot of stupid and base and perverse and like horny, dumb content is amazing. Like I have an appreciation for that.
Oh,
So
totally. No, yeah,
yeah,
and I think you and I we share a lot of like sensibilities around what makes something interesting and fun that isn't necessarily, the mainstream definition. Um,
definitely, yeah,
but even having said that, I catch myself sometimes sharing things that feel a little too easy. I share
yeah,
something that I know people will like because it caters to a specific impulse that I feel like it might be trending, even though it's not necessarily very like astute, or it's not
yeah,
interesting in its own right. And conversely, every so often I'll post something and it's like, wow, this is such a fun take, or it's such a like meta inside joke on a topic that I feel like three people in the whole world might be interested in.
yeah,
And like I still think it's good even if it bombs, even if I get just a fraction of the likes that I typically would.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I
I
feel
don't
that.
know how it changes your behavior. But another thing that I've noticed recently is, on occasion, I will post, like me making music, or me having more of a commentary on something that feels a little bit more like my actual self. Um, like an admin reveal kind of thing. And every time I
Yeah.
do that, I feel like it erodes my ability to explore crazier sides of the world, or to repost something that's like really outrageous, because all of a sudden it's going to be associated with who I am as a person. and
Oh
and
yeah.
and I don't want people to um like have some sort of, yeah, I don't want people to connect me to these outrageous sentiments thinking that it's me thinking these things.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the struggle. Like you can post these things, but that's not necessarily your viewpoint. But it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
really you're just like showing it, like, look how crazy this is. But
Right.
it's not like I'm not saying that. Yeah.
But you post a lot of crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's always been my assumption that you are, like a nice normal person, even though you post like outrageous, crazy things.
Oh, that's great.
But I think it takes like a particular brand of crazy to hold up something and say like, look at how absurd or crazy this is,
Yeah.
and not I am a crazy person.
Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah, you have to have your own voice somehow.
Yeah.
That's like
Do
that's where being I wish I was better at captions, but I think being really good at captions can
mm,
really
yeah, fair enough. Do
yeah.
you, do you ever have the two mixed up? Do people ever think that you, I don't know, do you ever get like a negative reaction to something you post, believing that you
Uh
posted it in earnest or anything like that?
no, but I have gotten things where like people think you always men, they think like I'll post like some hot yoga woman like you just see the whole outline of her labia or something and they're just like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Do you know that this is not me? This is just like if you took any time at all looking at this page, you would know that this is something I found on the internet." This
Yeah.
is
I
so
mean, fair enough, and
yeah.
God bless men for always like shooting their shot,
Yeah, always. Which is something I don't experience on my other page because I guess it's more professional. But a lot of
Mm.
my, women friends, they experience it all the time, just
Hmm.
like posting selfies and people are just from nowhere just coming.
Yeah,
Like,
unbelievable. But
yeah.
what would you say your typical um, interactions with your followers? What's that like?
So I think, yeah, I mean, I have a couple people. So there's like a lot of people know it's me. And so, but so they'll be sending me content. So,
Mm.
but then there's other people. I have like a couple people that I converse with who I like actually know in real life, but they don't know it's me.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
we have these like conversations.
Wow, you can get like the inside scoop on things then. Yeah,
Yeah,
get some good
yeah. So
gossip.
well, I think it's like people for some reason, like even though they don't know like some people who don't know who Tammy is, even though we've like interacted in real life, they still feel like they can like talk, like we can have a real conversation, which I
Mm.
think is quite interesting,
Hmm.
like, and then there's people like you and we've like communicated and, I've met like a lot of like great different meme accounts through Tammy that like I think that I have like real conversations with and it doesn't matter if you necessarily know who's behind the page or not because
Yeah,
it's you're still talking and
yeah, yeah. Fair enough. And it becomes
yeah.
sort of like almost like a self-propelling thing after a while. I find, it's I don't know. Maybe I feel like it's less connected to me specifically, and now it's more of a tone that's, I don't know. Someone else could ostensibly take it over at some point and just like continue at least the accounts that I've had. I feel like it's clear enough what sort of to post and what tone to take on a lot of matters. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe as a result, like I feel for myself that the relevance of my account is going down because I've largely said most of the things that I think need to be said. Not to everyone, obviously, but it's like I've gotten a lot off my chest by having this account. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, where's your account going in the future? How will it change?
Yeah, I mean, I started like posting drawings. Those didn't really get a lot of response, so I was thinking that would be where I would go with it, but
Mm.
I don't think that is really working on the Instagram page. Like that could work out like in real life
Hmm.
somehow. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to think about someone being able to take over your account. That's like thinking about an artist estate and then like merchandise like continuing on or something like continuing on
Yeah,
beyond their life. Um,
I've seen a
but
couple
yeah,
of collaborations like that actually. Um, so two of the people that I spoke to before, they did something like that where one of them would take over for the other one and do some like guest posting or whatever. Uh, it's pretty interesting.
did they announce that? Was it like known that they were doing that, or was just kind of behind the scenes?
I think they mentioned it, but
Yeah,
even if they did, obviously, like if you have a following of, I don't know, tens of thousands of people, then not everyone will get that message.
right.
Yeah, Yeah, it just
Yeah.
mixes things up a little. And anyway, like I think any account will go through change. I see it in myself, like the topics I choose to discuss are different now than they were a year ago and 2 years ago.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess we evolve.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like in the beginning, I was like obsessed with creating this fake person that was like it was like this is a fake selfie, like
Yeah.
these are my nieces, this is my what I cooked on the weekend, and I think since then it's evolved quite a bit more where it's obviously other people's content and it's not taking content pretending that it's like an actual person. But I still like the food posts quite a bit, like disgusting food posts.
Yeah, that's that's a good one. Um, why do you think people follow you?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully for the laughs. I hope that people can like you know find find some humor in light in their life, and I yeah, I think that's. I mean, and then another reason is like one time like Jerry Saltz posted something, so I think I got a bunch of followers because of that. So if there's that, there's like the nepotism side where people, but then there's also hopefully it's the content. I mean, um, I hope that people find it entertaining
Yeah,
and
yeah, fair enough. How many followers do you have?
like 8,600 or 700 or something like that.
And
Yeah.
compared to the other 6 accounts, I think you said that you have, like, is this more or less?
So my painting account, I have 23.3 thousand, so
Oh
that's quite a
wow.
bit more.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, but then second is Tammy, and that's like the most, I think, yeah, by far. Then the rest are kind of just way behind and under 1,000 maybe.
So obviously the number. Uh, what's the significance of a follower count to you? What does it say?
I think I pay more attention to, yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I read somewhere that when you have 30K followers, you're technically a celebrity and there's different rules
Oh, really?
that you're more responsible for what you post. And so it's like,
Oh, that's how they get you. Yeah.
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 So I think I was kind of like, oh, when I get to that amount, if I ever get to that amount, I have to, I guess, I don't know what, like, I can't post, like, I'm always getting threatened to get kicked off Instagram for Tammy stuff. And whether it's because I'm taking content or it's like a song that's on there or like those 5-minute crafts videos. I don't know if you ever see those.
So good. Yeah.
They're so good, but they have whoever they have on their team, like they, you know, really care about not being reposted for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it's so obvious that it's their content, but
Um, so 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 how will that like change you then? So both for the Tammy page and for your professional page, if you get to 30,000, how will you approach things
uh,
differently?
I think for my professional page, it probably won't change it because it's very like vanilla compared to Tammy.
Yeah.
But if Tammy ever gets that far, I don't know. I don't. I hope that it won't really affect it, but it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't actually know how the rules change, but I don't want to be like. I feel like I'm more conscious of not posting things will get my account deleted because I care more now. So that's maybe a bad thing, but
So if you take that and you think about the sort of compound effect of everyone going through that, how do you think it shapes, I don't know, like the narrative of the world around us? Like how does it change which viewpoints are expressed in public?
when people consider whether their accounts will be taken down,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, people are afraid to post lewd content quite a bit, or before nipples were outlawed, it was like never show a nipple or your account would be deleted. Now it's like fine for some reason. Or no, is it like fine if there's like, I don't know, the rules around nipples are very weird.
I
But I
don't
think,
know them, but yeah, if you can clearly show like nudity if it's behind, sheer fabric
yeah, it's
or
like
whatever.
behind a certain
Yeah,
fabric,
yeah,
which is so weird to me.
yeah.
Or but the male nipple, like that's fine.
But
Like,
but so nipples is obviously like a bone of contention for a lot of people, but that's just like one aspect of it, because
yeah.
for every nipple post, there are political posts, there are drug posts, there are
Oh,
sexualization,
yeah.
there are
Misinformation.
misinformation, political extremism, and what Mark Zuckerberg called coordinated inauthentic behavior. Like all
Oh,
these
wow. What
things,
is that?
well, it's essentially ways to strike down on anything that is dissenting against the powers that be, I guess. But they're saying if it's coming from like a state-sponsored act where a bunch of accounts are coming in to promote a certain viewpoint about say Russia or China or North Korea or whatever it may be, the flavor of the day, and then even if they don't violate any particular standard, they want to retain the right to um, deplatform or delete these accounts because they are propagating a viewpoint that it isn't a bot. They're not using the dangerous words in irresponsible ways, but they are clearly pushing an agenda, and therefore they say this is not necessarily misinformation, but it is a coordinated attack. It's like propaganda, and
Yeah.
and from my understanding, propaganda should be coming from one place to be good and from another place to be bad. Like the yeah, I don't know. I just think about the implications of a lot of people feeling like you just mentioned, once you get to a certain threshold, there will be more flack if you post certain things that tread too close to the boundaries. But if you do that for everyone, like what opinions, what viewpoints remain? It will likely be the ones that are more vanilla, more like everything is fine the way it is. And when you think about, society as it stands, is everything fine for everyone? And for the dissenters, right? Like if you speak up and you say like here's inconvenient truths for different avenues and perspectives of life, if you start to avoid saying those things, which I don't blame you for, and I do it too. But like if you look at it across a society, across the entire user base of Instagram and Facebook and so on, like you yeah, the compounding effects of what messages will be shared become very narrow, and it's essentially saying that everything is fine. You know,
Yeah, it's disturbing.
yeah, it feels really dystopian to me, but it's like
It's like
on
this
yeah.
false utopia that feels very dystopian. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. So I know in U.S. politics mainly, I've come across this concept of the Overton window, which is sort of like a bell curve where they say everything that is inside of this bell curve, those would be topics that we can discuss more openly. We can say buy more sustainable products, or we
Yeah.
care about the planet, therefore we should always try to not use single-use plastics, or the straws are killing the turtles or whatever. But you won't go too far outside of this Overton window in any one direction, where you would say, let's completely ignore the problem altogether, because that's starting to look a little bit like extremism and it's crazy. And on the other end, you can't really say stuff like maybe we shouldn't buy anything at all, or going towards more like eco-terrorism for that matter. You have this sort of little window where here are the things that we can talk about, but we can't talk about things that are outside of that, because they either are crazy and like extremist, or they talk about things in a way where they rock the boat too much. We have like a society and we want to maintain stability and stuff, and I see that um, on Instagram too, and they hire a lot of people from government institutions that are focused on uh, suppressing dissent. Like those are the people that get the main jobs at many of these like institutions that affect all of us and all our communication.
It's crazy. What I mean is because I know obviously since Facebook or Meta bought Instagram, like a lot of things have changed, but I'm wondering if like Reddit or other platforms are as monitored like that.
So I don't know all cases everywhere, obviously, and I'm not that closely familiar with a lot of them. But I think in general, I think we see a society where more and more power are ending up in the hands of fewer and fewer people.
Yeah.
Like the literal billionaires with a B. They own media outlets, they own news publications, they own TV stations. They are lobbying in front of whatever politicians that we have to find loopholes to express themselves with fewer and fewer consequences and less accountability, which obviously takes us in a direction where they are perpetuating their like stronghold on society. And I very much see accounts like yours as okay. It's gonna get a little pretentious. Bear with me. Like a slight bastion of free speech, where people that
Yeah.
actually go against the grain and they post things that are uncomfortable or really funny because you're saying something that you're not supposed to be saying. That's actually like a
Yeah.
really important part of free expression. So,
I agree with you
yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's like you have to like make things a little weird because otherwise everybody's just so what's the word? I don't know. Just like so um
Conformist, uniform?
complacent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
complacent. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I think about that stuff sometimes. So once you get to 30,000, don't let it change you too much. You know,
Oh, thank you.
fight the
I
good
hope I
fight.
will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Likewise.
if um, if you could go back in time, it's now 2019. You've decided to maybe create uh, an assistant, Samantha. Would you do it again? Would you start her Instagram account again?
100%.
Yeah. Have you ever
Fully enriched my life.
have you ever thought differently? Has there ever been I don't know times when you think, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea, or maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should delete my account.
Yeah,
You
there's
know?
maybe been moments when people got upset with Samantha the assistant and then like contact her on Instagram and I'm just like, oh, maybe this isn't a good idea. But it's always turned out fine.
Yeah,
So
it's so funny.
yeah.
Would you recommend that others set up an Instagram account like yours, like Samantha's?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like there I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
I
what?
think there's a lot of like content being passed back and forth within the messaging feature and you know, a lot of people will send me great stuff, but they'll never post it on their accounts or they'll never, they may not even send it to anybody else because they know that because I'm Tammy, there that like I am gonna see this and like it. But
Yeah.
like hopefully it's like a free space for people.
I see that like in my own life and in other people's lives too, where it's hard to be like honest and personal and actually share things that actually matter. We can talk about it, but when it comes down to it, if you start sharing things that actually make you laugh, it's going to be received very differently between your best friend and your grandmother or whoever else is watching your account. Um,
Yeah.
so I know in early days of Instagram, I would on occasion I would post stuff that I thought was interesting and funny, and people would largely just be like appalled or outraged or grossed out, or they would be concerned about me, whatever it may be, and it's like it's
Are
just
you okay?
yeah, exactly. It's just like a very nuanced palette, like it's not
Yeah.
my entire life and it's not a hyper focus somewhere. And I think there are things that we can and cannot say in different like settings and in front of different audiences, but it's important to be able to express it somewhere. And if you're not in a place where you have, close friends, or a therapist or, a working relationship with someone where you can actually do these things, then like I think Instagram is actually a pretty great place to let that surface. I'm not saying that it's mutually exclusive, but it certainly is like a way of venting some of these things into the world.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, because everybody's there, so you have this built-in audience,
yeah,
and because you're able to have more than one account, like I love
yeah.
that there's a place for it, and it's not gonna like solely what people think about my paintings or what my grandmother might think about me or something.
How do you think your account would be? Sorry, how do you think your life would be different had it not been for your account?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't, I mean, we all went through a lot in 2020. I think that it really helped me quite a bit, like my emotional well-being,
Yeah,
just having this outlet and something, you know, something to do inside. So,
yeah,
and because, you know, there's just like, we have these computers that we walk around in our pocket and there's just like so much content inside of them. So I think it was like, you know, it's escapism, but it's also, yeah, like you're saying, it's like free speech. It's entertainment. So
yeah.
I think there would be kind of, I don't know, maybe I would be running 6 miles a day or something. I don't know, without my account. But I like to think that Tammy's healthier than that.
Yeah,
So
no, for sure. uh, I think of it sometimes as being almost like, well, I guess you become desensitized, right? Like you don't laugh the same way at the same joke twice. Uh, and
yeah,
every time you explore this new like little, I don't know, concept or idea or thought or whatever it may be, it becomes almost like part of your repertoire. And then I, again, like I think maybe these are words that are a little bit too big for the context, but it like allows you to view world in a slightly more nuanced way because
yeah,
you've considered the broader spectrum of all the different perspectives and vantage points. Because how else in the history of the world would we ever view life from the perspective of someone who chooses to pretend that they're a horse and run around, or someone to put a butt plug in, yeah, like
yeah. It's magical.
yeah, it
There's,
really is. Like I
yeah,
feel like we've been granted this like superpower through Instagram, and I'm sure
yeah.
there are downsides to it that some people like to focus more on than others, but there very much is like a very real upside in terms of just building empathy and like understanding
Yeah.
in a different way, and yeah,
Yeah, just seeing things from other people's point of view. That's very true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We're getting like kind of close-ish to the end. We have another 7 minutes, I think. So I have a couple of I don't know, closing out questions. Um,
Sure.
but let's start by saying, could you please recommend three accounts that you really like?
Ooh, okay, so number one, I would say SPPDF. I can't remember all of it. I can send it to you in DM
Sure. Wait,
later. There,
I'm gonna see if I can find it right now so we can get it on the video. I think I
S.
know which one you're talking about. I just need to make sure.
It's like SPPDF. I want to say 2023, but it could be a different set of numbers. Or SPPF.
SPPF 124. SPPF 124.
Yes.
Yes. Why that
There,
one?
he's always getting kicked off, and so
Uh,
it changes all the time.
why do you like that one?
So that is like a good mix of crazy memes and also like he'll post like um, screenshots from the New York Times where it's like one of the ones I really liked recently where it's kind of talking about the juxtaposition between the Titanic vessel and the ship with the refugees and then underneath of it's like an ad. So there's like this kind of like passive political commentary kind of thing going on, but there's also like a SpongeBob meme or something, you know. So there's a lot of like it's really smart and funny, but it's also you know you can get the really base humor when you
Nice.
want it. And it's also self-aware, like he'll post screenshots of his own account or things that Instagram does, like we all do when we get threatened kicked off, like that type of thing.
Cool. Okay, that's one.
So was there, did you say two more?
Two more.
Okay, so I think her name is Alicia Dade.
Uh, I don't know this one. How do you spell it?
I'm gonna have to look up the her page. Let's see.
Dade?
Alicia McDade, McDazzler.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know her. Oh,
Yeah.
um, McDazzler. That's right.
Yeah.
I used to follow her. I didn't because I have a somewhat new account. I'm following her again. She's awesome.
She's amazing.
Why do you like her?
She does like these like performance videos and she gets into costume and she's very real and like it's really funny. Like I think she's like that, and you know, that's a thing people do, but she does it really well. Um, yeah, she's great.
Yeah. My view, she was always very, I don't know, likable, personable,
Yeah.
but also pretty like outrageous and gross at the same time, which I thought was like a beautiful thing to be all in one go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm actually seeing now I have the name wrong for the SPDF. Now that
Oh,
I'm in my page, it's SPPDDFFE 2023.
SPPDDF
FE
FE.
2023.
Okay, then I just followed something else. Um,
It was probably his old page because it gets like taken down and put back up.
Wait, say it again. SPPDDFE. No?
SPPDDFFE.
Oh, FFE. That's how they get you. Okay.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Now we're cooking with gas. Okay, now I'm following
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a good one.
Third one?
Third one, this is going to be a hard one. Um, I mean, I'm going to say Amy Sedaris.
Okay. And why her?
She is, I mean, she's hilarious and amazing, and but she's also one of these people who she's made her Instagram account like its own thing where she reposts content and she finds really good stuff, but it's all seems like so on brand for her at the same time. So I think her account is like, I'm just a huge fan of her. Her work as an actor. So I think what she reposts too is like, so I feel like I know her and I'm best friends with her.
Nice. And you don't.
Even though
And okay.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, what is something that you wish that more people knew? Can be big or small, can be personal or about, I don't know, politics of the universe, whatever you prefer.
Oh my God. What do I wish more people knew? Um, I guess like without being super, I mean, this is pretty hippy dippy, but
That's okay.
like, just like, I guess like managing your expectations is a secret to happiness.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that sounds very pretentious, but it's like something that in my old age, I'm like, this is a very real thing. And
How do you
it's
do it?
that, yeah, how do you do it? You're asking all the important questions today,
Yeah.
but you just have to like, you get your heart set on something and then your heart gets broken. So I think it's kind of like once you kind of realize like I have no control over what's going to happen. This is what I want, but if this happens, it won't be the end of the world. That's kind of like you have to, understand it, I
Yeah.
guess, personally.
Yeah. I a family member did some sailing many years ago, and the message was something like he said, yeah, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. I think that's pretty good, not just for like on a boat, but in life in general. Yeah,
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 definitely very good on a boat.
yeah, probably. I know nothing about boats, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
um, what else? Oh, do you have any questions for me?
Um, yeah, I mean, what are some, you were talking about some of your older accounts. What, are they still around or did they get deleted?
Uh,
And do,
so I had a big account called Our Community Guidelines that was
oh yeah, I
deleted.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And I think I had 60 something thousand followers on that one.
Yeah.
Um, but then that went through a couple of different iterations, I think. And then I've had accounts for like music, and I've had personal accounts, and then I tried to have a photography account way back in the day because I felt like I keep like spamming my family and friends with these like pretentious photos, and I thought maybe they will have value to someone else. And then I've done the same for drawing, and I've had two or three like shit posting accounts too. So like I've had a couple, but right now I just have the repost account, whatever you want to call it, the one I have now, and then my personal one. So yeah, it comes and goes a little.
So did our community guidelines get deleted or hacked?
Yeah, no, it got deleted.
Wow.
It was deleted for violating the community guidelines on
Our
bu-
community guidelines.
business integrity. And then I asked, specifically why it was deleted, and then it said it was pretending to be someone else. So my assumption is that they thought that me saying our community guidelines, follow our community guidelines or whatever, that I was impersonating Meta or Facebook or Instagram.
Oh my
But
God, that's
that's my
horrible.
only guess. And then I appealed the decision, and they sent me an email in Chinese from a support part of Facebook. Like the email was completely in Chinese, saying essentially, we're doubling down on our decision. You cannot appeal this. You can no longer use this account.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is
I
what it
hate
is.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Sorry for your loss.
it's okay. You know, honestly,
Our loss.
it was a really fun experiment. But the majority of the reasons why I did it was to, you know, like make my friends giggle and to see new perspectives. And I think I can still do that pretty effectively, like today. And even if they were to delete
Definitely.
my current account, you know, I could start again. I don't need thousands and thousands of followers to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of back to your point, you know, if you can temper your expectations a little and think about what are the things that are inside of your control, a very like stoic approach, right? Like if you're an artist, you can still paint. It
Yeah.
If you have food and shelter, then you can do the thing you want to do. And for me, I feel like I'm in a very fortunate position where I can do these things. You know, I can share stupid jokes online
Yeah.
and repost stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
take a
you
lot.
you built up your following quite quickly
Yeah, yeah,
for
and I
this
mean,
account
hopefully,
too.
I I feel like ever since I first got into the internet or whatever, people would give you advice. You know, these like false prophets would pop up and say, you know, here's how you build a following. Here's how you get a bunch of followers, and you have to do this, and you have to be like smash that subscribe button and the like button. You know, like follow for follow.
Yeah.
And then you realize that all the people that do this, they're so they'll do anything for a quick buck kind of a type.
Yeah.
And hopefully what I like to think is that by only sharing things that I'm interested in, it will not come across as being desperate or lacking integrity or doing anything, you know, that's too self-interested or self-serving, but
Too
rather,
hungry.
you know, yeah, I think about that. So hopefully that comes across and hopefully that leads to slightly more like genuine personal connections with people as opposed to just, you know, feeling coerced into pressing a subscribe button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mutual self-gratification or
Yeah,
something.
exactly, exactly. Um, who do you think I should talk to next?
Um, yeah, I mean, that's maybe the same answer as who are my top three accounts,
Oh yeah,
but
okay.
maybe SPPDDFF.
I was thinking Amy Sedaris because that gave me a nice
Oh,
little boost of
definitely talk to
followers.
Amy Sedaris. Yes. Tell
Try
her
my
I said
best.
hi.
Yeah, we'll
She
do.
doesn't follow me, but
uh,
100% talk
Jerry
to her.
Saltz, let's go. Okay.
Yeah, talk to Jerry. He's very entertaining.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was this conversation like compared to your expectations, if you had any?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've never done an interview like this for this, I've done interviews for like painting stuff, but yeah, so I actually started, I didn't know, because I've done like a couple of performances with Tammy and I was wearing like a wig. So
Oh,
I
yay.
started before I joined the meeting, I had the wig on and I was like, am I going to be Tammy? But then I decided to take it off at the last minute because I had a feeling that it wasn't going to be like some performance thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I liked that it was more of a real conversation than yeah,
Amazing.
than
Well,
it
I'm
could
glad to hear
have.
that. Um, if we I don't know, down the line we realized that, you know, there were things that were left unsaid or there were topics that we would like to discuss more or that I would like to discuss more, would it be okay if I reached out to you again?
Sure, of course.
Cool. All right. Then, just like I mentioned in the beginning, I will be stopping the recording shortly. I'll upload this to YouTube. I'll send you the link, and you can have a look and review and let me know if there's anything you're not comfortable with me sharing. But this was a really lovely conversation. I'm glad I had the chance to talk to you. So, like, thank you for so generously like offering your time on short notice.
Of course,
Yeah.
thank you. It was
Um,
really nice speaking with you
yeah.
in, well, I was gonna say in real life, but maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Whatever
real.
this is.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever this is.
have a lovely rest of your day and looking forward to following some of the accounts that you mentioned. Yeah.
You too.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Okay, bye.